Assalamu alaikum grade 4. How are you all? This is the last lesson in unit 15, percentages, parts of a whole. Our learning outcomes today to calculate percentage of shapes and percentage of an amount. Before we start, let's do this small activity. If I ask you to find 50% of 8, remember grade 4, 50%, this is in fraction or in decimals means what? Excellent, means half. So when I want to find 50% of 8, this is same like I want to half 8. So I divide 8 into 2 equal parts. So 4, 4. So 50% of 8 equal 4, the half of 8. Now to find 10% of any number, you have to divide this number into 10 equal parts. To find 25% of any number, divide the number into 4 parts, because in 100 we have 425. And to find 1% of any number, divide this number into 100 equal parts. Let's start talking about shapes first, the percentage of shapes. Here we can see the big rectangle and we divide it into how many parts? Can you count? Excellent. We divide it into 10 parts. How many are shaded? 7. Excellent. So now the question asks you to write the percent of the shaded part. How we do this? First, you have to count how many small rectangles we have all together, and you say that we have 10. Good. Now the second step, how many are shaded? We count it and we find it, it's 7. Now the third step, we write this as a fraction. Write the fraction of the shaded part. It's 7 out of 10. Excellent. Now the last one, and this is the most important step, you have to convert this fraction to percent. Write it as percentage. So 7 out of 10, this is, you remember the previous lesson, this is 70 out of 100, or in percent, 70%. Now let's practice more. The question here, you have to write the percent of each shape is shaded. So only we are going to focus about the shaded parts. Okay, the first one. First step, you have to count. We divide this shape into how many parts? Count. We have, excellent, 10 parts. And how many one are shaded? Good, only 1 here we have. So the fraction of this, it's 1 out of 10, or as percent, 10 out of 100, or it's 10%. Now the second shape, count how many equal parts we have. Good, 6. And how many are shaded? Good, we have 3. So 3 out of 6. How can we write it as percent? 3 out of 6. Is it half? Yes, because the 3 half of 6. So here we shade the half of this shape. And half in percent, it's what? 50%. Excellent. Now the third shape, we have 100 square. How many shaded? 10, 20, 21, 22, 23. Good. So this is 23%. And the last shape, how many are shaded? Sorry, first in all, there we have how many pieces or how many small squares, then how many shaded, write it as a fraction, then the percentage. So here we have 10 in all, 3 are shaded, so the fraction 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 as percent, it's 30%. Now let's start talking about numbers and how can we find the percent of any whole number. We have this rule, and this rule we are going to use it for any number and any percent we want to find it. The rule tells you to find 1% of a number, we divide this number by 100. So if you want to find 1% of 100, we say 100 divide 100 equal 1. If you want to find 1% of 200, we say the number 200 divide 100. So the rule, always you divide by 100. Let's solve this example. We want to find 1% of 225. The rule tells you that this number 225 divided by 100. So how we will divide 225 by 100? Okay, remember the decimal place in the whole number. If I ask you 225, where is the decimal place? Excellent. This is after 5. And when I divide by 100, I shift the decimal point 2 digits to the left because I want the number to be smaller. Okay? So shift it to the left 2 places. It will be between 2 and 2. So the answer will be 2.25. Now we have another example. If you want to find, for example, 2%, not 1%, what we have to do in this case? Think. If we want to find 2% of a number, what we have to do? Not 1%. 1% we divide by 100. So 2%, 3%, 4%. How can we find that? Excellent. So if you want to find 2% of any number, we know that 2, it's 2 multiply 1. Yes? So it's okay if you find 1% first, then we multiply it by 2. If we want to find 10% of any number, find 1% first, then multiply it by 10. If you want to find 30% of any number, first find 1%, and we know how we find 1%, divide 100, then multiply it by 30. Okay, let's check this example. We want to find 2% of 453. So we say first step, find 1%. Yes? And how we find 1%? We divide it by 100. Good. So 453 divide 100. Shift the decimal place 2 digits to the left. So this will be 4.53. Okay, this is 1%. But I want to find 2%. So I have to multiply by what? By 2. Good. Let's multiply 4.52 by 2. We write it vertically, 4.53, sorry, not 52. Multiply 2, and now we start multiplying. 2 multiply 3 equal 6, good. 2 multiply 5, 10, 0 and 1 up. Then 2 multiply 4, 8. Where we have to put the decimal point after 2 places, and we start counting from the right side. So the answer here will be 9.06. So 2% of 453 is 9.06. This is the final answer. And here we have more examples. The first one, we want to find 10% of 80. Tell me grade 4, first we have to find what? Good, 1%. And how we find 1%? 80 divide what? Good, 80 divide 100. And 80 divide 100 equal what? See, in this case we say cancel 0 from 80 with 0 from 10. So this is now 8 divide 10. 8 divide 10, it's 8/10. Now this is 1% of 80. We want 10% of 80. So 8/10 multiply 10, or 0.8 multiply 10. And when we multiply it, when we multiply by 10, shift this decimal point 1 digit to the right now, because we are multiplying, so to the right. The answer will be 8. So 10% of 80, it's 8. The second question, 33% of 400. 33%, but before I find 33%, I have to find 1%. Excellent. And how we find 1%? 400 divide 100. Excellent. 400 divide 100. Cancel these 2 zeros with 2 zeros. Give you 4 divide 1. 4 divide 1 equal 4. Good. This is 1%. To find 33%, we multiply by 33. Excellent. So 4 multiply 33 equal 132. This is a question now for you. We want to find 20% of 1000. Before 20%, we have to find what? Excellent, 1%. And how we find 1%? 1000, the number we want to find the percent of, divide 100. So 1000 divide 100, this is equal 10. Excellent. Cancel 2 zeros, 2 zeros. 10 divide 1 equal 10. This is 1%. Now 20%, so multiply by 20. 10 multiply 20, equal what? Equal 200. Excellent, grade 4. So 20% of 100 equal 20% of 1000 equal 200. And this is the last question for today. We want to find 11% of 700. First we find 1%. Excellent. 1% of 700. 700 divide 100. Good. Equal what? 700 divide 100. 7. Good job. Now to find 11%, we multiply 7 by 11. Excellent. 7 by multiply 11 equal what? 77. Good job. So 11% of 700, this is 77. For more practice, you can solve Let's Practice Pupils Book, page 233, 234, and this is optional if you want to solve it.